NBC News. Cicada pizza, tacos, and sushi are being gobbled up. Why Americans are finally eating bugs. So just as if being feminized by soy isn't degrading enough for you, we're going to force you to eat freaking bugs now. And you see, I mean, this has been a running joke for a couple years now. Eat the bugs, bigot. Cockroach milk and all this. It's like every month they got to put something new out about why everybody should be eating bugs. And this World Economic Forum, Bill Gates, we're going to feed you precision fermented, fungal grown fake protein and bugs instead of meat, right? Food that comes from a laboratory instead of real foods. And this is, of course, this is so good for the planet. It's so good. It's so great. Newsflash, America. Almost everybody eats bugs but us. It may have surprised you to read about how the large Brood X cicadas, emerging after 17 years underground, made for a delicious meal. But in fact, insects are a staple of diets around the world, and we're just catching up. Cicadas for dinner? It's about time. So, it's so good for you. We're just now starting to understand the positive impact that deliciousness can have on the planet. Because many insects are both more nutritious, rich in digestible proteins, key amino acids, and micronutrients, and far better for the environment than livestock, which can require a lot of land, water, and feed. Because, of course, land, water, and feed, that belongs to the elite. You guys aren't allowed to have that. That belongs to Bill Gates. You guys are taking up too much of Bill Gates' precious resources. Right? The royal family does not want you eating livestock. Of course, they'll feed their children raw milk. The Queen, who in many of her territories has made raw milk illegal and barely able to be even procured, even for like animal use, in much of Australia, much of Canada. But when the Queen sent her boys, when the Queen of England sent her boys to school, she would send them raw milk from her dairy herd, right? So they get the raw milk, they get the livestock, but you got to eat the bugs. It's better for you, right? They say it's rich in digestible proteins, key amino acids, and micronutrients. Bugs are not more easy to digest than meat. All right, so they say it's more nutritious. That is a lie. You are not going to get those essential fatty acids, DHA, EPA, which you'll find in animal foods like fish and meat. You're not going to get those from bugs. Right? You're not going to get carnitine, taurine from bugs. You're not going to get choline from bugs. Right? Vital for brain health. Choline. You're not going to get that in bugs. You'll get that in eggs. But they say livestock's bad. It takes up land. We want to take your land. We want to take your land. We're going to take your ability to produce raw milk. In fact, we'll make raw milk illegal in most places. But we'll drink the raw milk. And you'll eat the bugs, they say. So it's so good for the environment. It's so great. Look at this cicada soup. Eat the cicada soup.
Cicada, it ain't so. They're here. They're invading the nation's capital. Not even President Biden is immune, as we saw this morning on the tarmac.
Not even the great President Biden.
As he got ready to leave for his overseas trip. That's just hours after a whole swarm of cicadas filled the engines of the press plane set to carry reporters on that trip, delaying him for 6 hours. And if they're bugging you, you're not alone.
The giant swarm spotted by meteorologists.
So this is likely cicadas that the radar beam is picking up.
And at the Capitol, one making its way onto a reporter's jacket.
Oh God.
This car crashed after a cicada flew through the window into the driver's face in Cincinnati. But the current cicada epicenter is around D.C. And like a lot of things in this town, it's divisive.
I think they're gross.
You can find them on sidewalks, on earrings, even on the menu. Chef Sang Loongroth has been planning dishes like cicada scampi for well over a year.
Cicada cheers. It's delicious.
For me, it's more exciting than like,
so insightful.
Creepy or scary. For me, it's like, oh my God, it's gonna be my next meal.
Cicadas edible and audible. They'll be gone soon, the next generation hatching in 2038. But for now, you could say they're all the buzz.
So again,
Let's
nothing inherently wrong with eating some bugs, but that's just normalization of you will eat the bugs. This is better for you. You can't have real foods. You got to eat the bugs. All right, here we go. Let's play this.
Hunger. Tell me a bit about what stands out.
So we got Jordan Peterson. Pens on what you mean by the word penge. Penge on what you mean. Penge on what you mean by the word penge. Jordan Peterson
Quite
talking to a
remarkably,
North Korean about the diet in North Korea. You see why they want you to eat bugs.
degree of hunger. Tell me a bit about what it was like when you were a kid in the 90s in Korea with regards to eating.
North Koreans are on average 3 to 4 inches shorter than South Koreans because of the malnutrition. I'm like 5'2", but most of North Korean men are shorter than me. So if you are above 4'10" feet high, you must go to military. So tons of North Korean adult men are around 4'10", like even below that right now. This severe malnutrition affects even our brain development. North Korea's average life expectancy is like, if somebody lives up to 60, we think they lived a really long life. Being in North Korea, of course, like the only way for me.
So there you go. Again, making you nutrient depleted. Right, when you're short on nutrients that you're only going to find in animal foods, nutrients like iodine, which you're going to find in foods like liver, seafood, shellfish. When you're short on these nutrients, you get brain atrophy. Shoot, when you're short on vitamin B12, you get brain atrophy. Now, they're telling you, oh, we can solve climate change by making people smaller. Bigger people consume more energy, say researchers, who are proposing that reducing the size of humans could mitigate climate change. All that, we just make the people so tiny. We don't have those problems here. We make our people very small. They use less resource because they have less resources. This is so evil. Bigger people consume more energy, say researchers. Well, how do you make them smaller? By giving them less of the energy they need. Like in North Korea.
To get my proteins, we're eating grasshoppers, dragonflies, a lot of insects, tree barks, plants, flowers, and that's how we survive. And most of people die in the spring because that's when there's no like really insects and plants are.
Spring wasn't a time of hope and renewal, but the absolute worst time of the year.
Yeah, so every spring I remember my skin should like cut off from the like vitamin lackness that I would get dizzy, and it's like season of death every spring. The people who couldn't wait until the summer so the plants grow. I still remember I escaped in the spring at the March of 2007. One day I had a really bad stomach ache and my mom took me to the hospital. But in North Korea, of course there's no electricity. There's no x-ray machines, none of that. Literally a nurse using 1 meter to inject every patient in the hospital. And people don't die from cancer in North Korea. They die from infection and hunger mostly. Literally.
Anyway, got that North Korean internet cutting out there. I think we're good now. You hear this? So just lack of medical care. Now we're going to get into this in the second half too. Right, because this is part of it as well. Denying people medical care based on their social credit score, based on decisions like what you're going to put in your body, right? Not just, hey, you're going to eat meat, or you're going to not eat meat, right? But, oh, you can't go to the pub unless you take certain shots. You can't go and do what you want to do or get medical care unless you've had certain medical procedures that are experimental that will shorten your lifespan. Right? Oh, but we love you, we care about you. Eat the bugs.
Or hospital to the bathroom, there were like piles of human bodies, and you see children like chasing the rats. Just rats eating human eyes first, and then children catch these rats and they eat and they somehow die from I don't know what it is. Then rats eat the children back. So this cycle of us eating rats and they eat us back is going to continue and continue.
Dude, that's so horrible. That's so sad. How's she not, like, she doesn't seem, it's like cold from everything she's seen, right? Like, just seeing people starve around her. She seems like she looks healthy. I don't know, make makeup or something. She escaped North Korea. Dude, this is crazy. This is so sad. All right. So there you go. Yeah, eat the bugs, bigots. Eat the bugs.